Robert. This is a secure area.
It's a secure area.
So why don't you just come up and sit next to me?
I was thinking about that. I might do
There's a couple empty seats up here.
that. Is there? Yeah. If I don't have to say anything, I'm there, man. It's a better seat. It's better.
Get a better view.
You got your
Okay, guys.
in-out stuff?
We're ready to start.
You'll be good. They all want to hear it.
Okay. Pogabone. Start.
Start right now.
Yep.
Oh, it didn't do the thing. Oh, sorry.
Hands out of pockets.
How should I put this on?
Say good morning.
Good morning, everybody. Happy Sabbath. Apparently, I was supposed to give the welcome. I'm just kidding. I knew months ago. I just chose not to do anything about it. But I'm kind of tired. I know you guys are kind of tired as well, hopefully. Hopefully, I'm not just getting old. So I'm just going to make this quick. Big welcome to you guys. I'm very honored to welcome the senior class 2023, but without further ado, let's just get started, and I'll hand it over to Jaden Anderson, who's going to do prayer.
Bow your heads with me. Thank you for this amazing class. I thank you for everyone's families and friends getting here safely. I pray that you look after each and every one of us and be with those who are speaking this weekend to not be nervous and tell us about all the fun adventures they've done here. In your holy name, amen.
Good morning again. So we have had a tradition here at Gem State Academy for Sabbath School on graduation weekend. And this tradition has been going probably for about the last 7 or 8 years. So at this point, we're going to call it a tradition. And that tradition is we talk about, or when I say we, I mean the seniors, talk about how they have been involved in mission and service over the past 4 years here at Gem State. Obviously, some people hasn't been 4 years, but if you look at your program right here, on the very, very front of it, it has our mission as a school. And we had a logo done, a brand new logo done about 10 years ago for our school. And right below it, we decided that we wanted to get some outside source to come in and help kind of redirect us as a school, where we wanted to go, what we believe our quote-unquote pillars are as a school, because really nothing here matters but getting kids to heaven. And unless we as staff and faculty keep that, as long as we keep that number one pillar in our focus, we know that everything that we do from there on is correct. And so if you look at the very front, it says 3 things. We decided to sum our mission here at Gem State Academy into 3 things. And first one is engaging in service. The second one is training for leadership. And the last one is preparing for eternity. And you'll notice that really none of those have academics in them. Academics are a result of those, because all we're doing is trying to get kids to heaven. I love to tell the kids, hey, we're going to school for the rest of our lives in heaven. They're like, what? Okay, keep in mind, guys, that if you want to go on a field trip, just go to the nearest supernova, and then he'll explain it to you. So school's going to be a little different then. But Sabbath School on graduation weekend is all about the first one here. How have you guys engaged in service? And so that's what we're going to be doing this morning for Sabbath School. Is we've got a lot of our students that are going to be talking about essentially 3 main areas that they have worked on in service, because we've got a lot of opportunities here at Gem State Academy. We have a certain amount of service hours that are required every year. However, what you do with those service hours is really up to you. You can be involved in once-a-month activities we have here called Gene Sabbath. And Gene Sabbath was a kind of a brainchild of our last pastor ever, our Bible teacher, and you show up to church wearing jeans because you're going to have a short service, and then right after that you're going to go into the community and do some service. What a great opportunity that they have. And then every other year, the Idaho Conference or Gem State Academy likes to do a mission trip. And these mission trips have been all over the place. We've been to Thailand, we've been to Alaska, we've been to Peru and Brazil in previous years. And then we have some other students who decide to do their own mission trip with their church. And so we'll be talking about those as well. And the last one is regular volunteer projects that really are not associated with anything that our school does in particular, but are still a valuable service to the community. And so that right there kind of sums up why we do this Sabbath School program, because it really is one of the cornerstones here at Gem State Academy. And that is, if we are just known as the school on the hill that does nothing but just sticks with ourselves, we're not really preparing for eternity, are we? And so that is what we're going to be doing. And so this morning, we are going to start off with Jean Sabbath. I think it's Jean Sabbath. Is that what I have? Yes, Jean Sabbath and Allison O. Kelly.
Good morning, everyone. I'm excited to share with you an incredible experience I had during my first ever Blue Jean Sabbath. It was such a special day filled with kindness, generosity, and the joy of giving. As many of you guys know, I was a new student last year, and I had never heard of Blue Jean Sabbath until that point, but hey, they were offering hours and I needed them. So I decided to show up to the first ever one, which happened to be gathering toys, hygiene products, that sort of thing, and putting them in a shoebox for children who are in need, like for Christmas gifts. And it was such a heartwarming experience because a lot of the school body showed up, as well as the church family, and you could almost feel just the empathy and just the good feelings radiating off of them. The whole atmosphere was just filled with, just a certain warmth that just made it really enjoyable to me, and it truly was a welcoming environment. One of my favorite memories from that day was talking with my friends while putting the boxes together. It was super fun because I got to hang out with all of my friends while doing something that mattered. And this made me want to come to more Blue Jean Sabbaths, and I've gone to almost every single one since then. It was so much fun as we picked out toys for each shoebox. And it was a beautiful bonding experience and made the act of giving even more meaningful, at least to me. My second favorite Blue Jean Sabbath was one we did last year, where we went around downtown Boise giving out flowers to people just on the street, in shops, whatever. It was an incredible opportunity to spread kindness and show God's love through their actions. I was put in a group with Chloe and Kaylee Kaylee was our supervisor, who are both super awesome and fun to be around, by the way. So it was super fun. And as we trekked through Ann Morrison Park, the Greenbelt, and even stopped at various diners and stores to bless employees and customers alike with bright pink or purple chrysanthemums, it was super fun because we got to talk to everyone and just show God through our actions. Like we weren't going door to door oh, would you like a Bible? Read the Bible, guys. So I just thought that was super cool. I vividly remember a lady we encountered at, I think it was a laundromat, who was genuinely super curious about what we were doing, the whole idea of Blue Jean Sabbath, our church, and what we believed in. We talked with her more and shared with her the purpose of our activity, and she seemed really interested. She said she had been looking for a new church community and even considered that ours might be the one she had been looking for. Obviously, I never saw her again, so I don't know whether she ended up going to an Adventist church or not, but I'd like to believe that we made that difference in her life. It was inspiring to think that our acts of kindness might have sparked a positive change, and moments like these are what Blue Jean Sabbath is all about, bringing joy and hope to others through simple gifts and actions. I can't emphasize enough how incredible it was to witness the impact we had on multiple people's afternoons with such simple acts of kindness. It reminded me of the power we have to brighten someone's day and potentially lead them to faith and hope.
Hey. So I also did Gene Sabbath, but it was a little bit harder for me to think of it because we did so many and they're kind of remote as well. So I just kind of had to think of one out of the blue, but there were two that like really stuck out to me. And so I'm going to talk about the first one. So the first one was going to Shut-in's house, but I need to give you a little bit of backstory to this one. So big man Pastor Ever over there, look at him. He's my favorite teacher. I'm his least favorite student, I think. Sometimes I wonder if he's just about to chuck me like out the door, like literally just pick me up, whew, right out the door. But he came up with a sheet. I don't know, like, are you the supervisor for like Gene Sabbath events? Are you like supervisor? Okay. Okay. But then came up with the sheet, and I heard my favorite pastor's name, Pastor Matthew, and I knew I had to be with him for this event. But it turns out we need two people, so I put a little bit of thought into it. I put deep thought. In about 10 seconds, I thought of the perfect person to go with me, Lucas Drake. Give a hand to Lucas Drake. He's the best person ever. I love that guy. I love that guy. Yes. So, of course, I went to go find him because I didn't want to lose the slots with Pastor Matt because he's my favorite person to go with, of course. But I checked the worst places first for him. I didn't check the dorm first. I checked everywhere else, and it took me about 45 minutes to actually find Lucas Drake so we could go sign up. Very long time. But then when we finally got to it, like, we went signed up and everything, and I didn't actually know what was going to happen at the shut-ins. I thought we were just going to be talking, but no, we actually played games. Of course, Pastor Matt, we went there and we started talking. And Lucas, he says he's pretty introverted. Remember this for later. He is not. He talked like no other there. Just remember for my second one, he talks a ton. And then Pastor Matt, we talked for like an hour with this person, super nice lady that we got to talk to. And then we started making a puzzle. I went to the bathroom for like 2 minutes. I came back. Lucas already had like half of that thing done. And then I went there. I got like 3 pieces done in like 10 minutes. I was kind of embarrassed. Pastor Matt, I think, was also embarrassed too because he blamed it on a color deficiency. But of course, like the humble person I am, I also blamed it on a color deficiency, even though I most definitely don't have one. Most definitely do not have one. But this was a very good experience for me because I got to get out of my shell a little bit, even though I didn't talk and Lucas talked the most. And then for my second one, we did this thing. We did like this fundraiser. We went from house to house, knocking on doors and asking people. We had like this thing that we're supposed to speak from, but you didn't want the sheet out when you're talking to them because that looks a little bit awkward. But we got split into groups. I was with Lucas and Nathaniel. Lucas said that he was an extreme introvert and he would not talk. And then Nathaniel, of course, I wasn't even going to ask him. He would punch me probably if I asked him. So I just left it. And then I'm like, Lucas, what do you mean? Like a few weeks ago you talked to this person. He's like, no. And I'm like, okay, I guess I'm going to have to do all the talking. And I'm also an extreme introvert, if you don't know. So I had to go up there. And I kept on fumbling over all my words when they came out. And the first guy, big towering man, or at least in my mind he was, because I had to talk to him. Yeah, but then finally I got a little bit of the hang of it. Not very well, though. I kept on fumbling all over my words, and I just couldn't think. And then finally I had to try to get Lucas to cover for me, and he still wouldn't. So I had to keep on going. But at the end, I actually did adapt a little bit, and I came out of my shell a little bit more. And I think that overall, these two things were just a great experience to help get out of your shell and to help like communicate with people better.
The next event that we're going to be talking about is our mission trips. And we're going to be talking in particular about 3 mission trips. The first one was a mission trip that was taken 4 years ago, to Thailand. And then the next one that we're going to be talking about is a mission trip that we had last year to Alaska. And then the last one is a trip that happened this last year as well, and that was to the Dominican Republic. Yes, all right.
Good morning. So as what I said, 4 years ago, we went to Thailand, and I was in 8th grade, but I had the wonderful privilege of being able to join Gem State Adventist Academy on a mission trip to Kanchanaburi, Thailand. We left on March 20th, 2019 from Boise, and we flew to Seattle. We then traveled to Seoul and then to Bangkok, and after well over 24 hours of traveling, we finally made it to our final destination. The goal of our trip was to help out at an orphanage called New Life Orphanage. We were going to be there to help renovate their current building, build a new fence for a new building for teens, and run a VBS program. Upon arriving there, one thing about Thailand became very evident. It is hot there. During our time, we endured and experienced temperatures in the high 90s with about 60% humidity. Our living accommodations consisted of a big room with beds and hammocks, and it was really not that comfortable. There were spiders and frogs everywhere. It really put things into perspective. Because of these two things, the weather and the critters, we had some potential hardships, one of which was that some people almost passed out from heat exhaustion, and the other was that we had to take several pills every morning to prevent us from getting any of the potential diseases. The group that I was with helped paint the orphanage, weed the garden, and plan the VBS. The other group spent their time helping on the other orphanage site by putting in fence posts. Along with these activities, we also helped cut down dead branches off of the banana trees. I was in awe of all the beautiful natural trees in the area. When we went on walks, there were pomelos all over the ground, so we would pick them up and take them back to the orphanage and eat them. They soon became my favorite fruit, but I haven't been able to find one since. On our walks, we also came across a local temple. The inside was absolutely gorgeous. The intricacy that was put into the artwork and the building itself was beyond my comprehension. We also accidentally ate some of the fruit they had out as an offering to their gods, but I don't think the people really cared that much. My favorite part of the trip was the kids. They became like family to us, and they were absolutely loving and accepting, and they were so curious about everything that we did and said, and they loved using the Snapchat filters on our phones to make funny faces, and I think Jaden Hood brought a kendama. They mastered that in about 2 seconds, way better than I could do. But yeah, they actually called us mommy and daddy, and they became like our little kids, and I loved bonding with them and playing games with them. They would run around everywhere, and they even had little kittens that they would love to show us, and they would take us to the little shop they had and get us ice cream when we needed a break. VBS was so fun with the kids because they would sing songs and play games, even though they didn't really understand what we were saying or doing. And it was amazing to be able to share the Bible with them and to tell them all about the cool stories. The food was also amazing. Thai food is delicious, and they knew how to cook it right. But one of the days, the kids wanted to try something that we ate in America. So we decided to cook them a spaghetti dinner. We went to the store and bought all the ingredients and spent the rest of the afternoon cooking. We also bought ingredients for funnel cakes, but they didn't really turn out that great. So anyways, they were still delicious. Yeah, the kids really loved that though, because they'd never really tried anything like that, and so it was just fun to be able to share that with them. One of the Sabbaths that we were there, a few local families and some other people came to the orphanage to collect bags that we had filled with essential items. This was a really amazing day, and it really gratified me because I was able to meet new people and talk with them and really get to know what it was like in the area and the culture of the people. And they always had a bright, shining smile on their face, especially when they received their goodie bags. And yeah, it just made me feel really good. The painting and the weeding and the cooking and planning and building was only half of the trip, however. One of the days, we went swimming with the kids at a local natural swimming area. We went cliff jumping, and it was a great way to cool off. I had a really great time swimming with the kids, and it was one of the ways that we bonded really well. Another day, we went to the mall and bought stuff that you can't get in America, and we also tried some interesting food. Another one of my favorite memories was swimming with the elephants. We were able to go into the river with them and take baths with them, and they would splash you with water, and it was really, really fun. Another day, we went to a national park, and it had 7 waterfalls that descended into each other. The little pools you could swim in had little fish that would nibble on your toes, which felt really weird, but it was still fun to swim in, and there was actually a natural water slide as well that we took videos of everybody going down. On one of the last days, we went out to eat in an authentic Thai restaurant, and I don't really remember much about the actual restaurant, but I do remember that outside of it, there was this coffee stand, and I just watched the guy make coffee for like 20 minutes because I was just so intrigued. I had never seen anybody make coffee like that. It looked so weird. It was like sludge, but like it tasted really good. I don't know. I was like, is this actually coffee? But yeah, I was just really intrigued by that for some reason. And then on the last day, we went to Bangkok, and we stayed in a hotel and went shopping at their market and bought souvenirs for all of our families. We also rode on one of the big Ferris wheels. On April 2nd at 2:30 in the morning, we left for Shanghai, and we got back to Boise at 3:08 p.m. Boise time on the same day. This trip was truly life-changing. I will never forget the memories I made with friends and the people that I met. The kids at that orphanage will remain in my heart forever. If you've never been on a mission trip or even visited a third world country, I highly recommend you do. It was a truly humbling experience. The people there have almost nothing in comparison to us, and yet they always have a smile on their face. It can be easy, even for myself, to forget how truly blessed we are. But because of this trip, I can now look at life through a different lens and be more content with what I have.
During spring break this year, I was given the opportunity to go on a mission trip to the Dominican Republic with the Northern California Conference. On this trip, we did a VBS and built a church there for the members, because the current church was only a small building about 10 by 20 feet. We built the church out of cinder block and out of iron windows and doors. We spent about 5 days building the church, and the other days we spent just having leisure and having fun at the hotel and at the beaches and at some of the nearby islands. The VBS that we had each night went from 3:30 to 5:30, and we would do little skits that were Bible stories that led up from the beginning of the Bible to the second coming of Christ. Each night we would have games for the kids to do, and we would have some crafts for them to put together that would tie into the lesson of each skit. On Sabbath, we had church in the church that we were building for them, and the look of appreciation and awe on the members' faces was just amazing. It was so beautiful to see them in their new church, to see them so happy that they could have a new building. We spent the following days after we finished putting up the walls at a resort island called Catalina Island, where we were able to go snorkeling on some reefs there. The amount of creatures that we saw and different wildlife was just so amazing. It reminded me how good God is, how powerful He is with His creation. Later on during the week, the day before we left, we went to the colonial section of the island where Christopher Columbus's son, Diego, had his house. We explored the fortress there, and then we spent some time shopping around the area there, where I bought a necklace made from a small eagle's talon with a black coral pendant. The time that I spent there was very inspirational and very helpful for my spiritual well-being, because it reminded me that I have more here than they do there. And this, even though the building we built for them wasn't as big as any of the churches we have here, it was still bigger than what they had. And they were just so very grateful that they could have a new place to worship and that they could have a bigger place to have all of their meetings. While we were there, we also got to meet the founder of the Adventist church in the area. The church had only been going for about 20 years, and it started out with 5 members. The church now has close to 40 members, and it is still growing because of the new church. We were only able to get the walls up on the building, but since then, they have gotten the roof up, and the building is just amazing. And I thank God that I was able to go on this trip and that I was able to testify for him and to give this testimony today.
I had the privilege of being a member on the mission trip to Bethel, Alaska last year. It was an incredible experience. I got to experience God working in many ways, from getting the trip paid for to the smallest of details and little prayers being answered in big ways. It was interesting to see how different it is there and how differently the people there live. All their homes were about identical to each other, and an obvious difference was that it was, of course, freezing 24/7. And everything was on a smaller scale. The airport was about the size of our school cafeteria, and the town itself was supposed to be like the hot spot of the area, but only had one grocery store. We could even walk pretty much everywhere we needed to go. When we got outside, our eyelashes froze because of the moisture of our breath, and 5 layers didn't seem like enough most of the time. Despite the unfortunate and uncomfortable environment, the people in Bethel were incredibly kind, generous, and carefree. We had enough food for months, and I'm sure we all gained 100 pounds that week. As for the actual program that we put on for the kids, it was amazing. More and more kids showed up every day. When we got more comfortable, they sang and danced freely with us. Although we were there to help, I think that the kids were more of a blessing to us than we were to them. They were very responsible for their age, and they were grateful for everything. God worked it out incredibly so that everything was done almost according to plan, and through the trip, I grew closer to the people I was working with and thoroughly enjoyed the entire experience. I learned more than I expected to, and I was blessed to be part of such an amazing mission. I hope that I'll be able to have many more experiences like that in the future.
All right, our next topic that we have in this Engaging in Service Sabbath School is our volunteer projects. And volunteer projects tend to be coordinated by the students themselves or their own churches and are not necessarily affiliated with the school itself. However, these projects are very, very, very important for the students, for the community. And so we're going to have 3 people, I believe, talk. And the first one is Charles.
Throughout my 4 years at Gem State Adventist Academy, the importance of service has been something that has been emphasized since the first days of freshman year. Whether through mandatory school work days or encouraged volunteer service outside of school, I have developed a profound appreciation for the true idea of service as well as serving God. As a senior Idaho, one of the expectations of being one is to undertake a senior project that focuses on dedicating oneself to a specific aspect of society in need of service, either directly or indirectly. This project serves as a marker of commitment to making a difference and giving back to the community that has shaped my life. My project at hand encompassed two key aspects, which are to not only raise funds to support the National Suicide Prevention Hotline, but to also spread the message of the hotline. As I embarked on my senior project, I recognized the significance of the service in transforming lives and communities. It became a personal mission to contribute to the betterment of society using my skills and passion to create a positive impact. The project's first aspect focused on the fundraising efforts, and it was a cause that resonated deeply with me, as mental health awareness is a pressing issue affecting countless individuals. So, I dedicated myself to raise those invaluable funds as well as spreading awareness about the hotline's essential services. The second portion of the project centered on advocacy and education. I firmly believed that promoting dialogue and understanding around mental health was crucial to removing the stigma of this often neglected topic. To achieve this, I organized speaking engagements at local churches, sharing what the event was and how beneficial it was to the community. Unfortunately, I was only able to visit 3 due to time constraints, but each individual church I went to meant the more people that I reached. Now, the journey of my senior project was not without its challenges. Balancing schoolwork, extracurricular activities, and projects required careful time management and dedication. However, the support and collaboration of my peers, teachers, and mentors provided guidance and encouragement along the way. Their belief in the project's mission fueled my determination to make a lasting impact. As the project unfolded, I witnessed the power of service to ignite change. Through our fundraising efforts, we were able to raise decent funds for the hotline and inadvertently provided critical resources to support those in need. I also hope that the awareness campaign and educational initiatives sparked by the project bring out important conversations within our community, breaking down the barriers and fostering the idea of empathy and support. Witnessing the positive response and engagement from individuals who had been touched by my project's message reaffirmed the impact that service can have on both individuals and society as a whole. Reflecting on my senior project journey, I've come to realize that the service is not merely an obligation, but a calling to make a meaningful difference in the lives of others. It has taught me the importance of empathy, compassion, and active participation in creating more inclusive and supportive society. Through service, we have the power to uplift, inspire, and empower individuals, ultimately contributing to the betterment of our communities. As I conclude my high school years and prepare for the next chapter of my life, the lessons, experiences gained through my senior project will stay with me forever. I carry forward a deep sense of gratitude for the opportunity to serve and make a positive impact. Moving forward, I am committed to continuing my journey of service, seeking new avenues where I can contribute to causes that align with my values and passions. The senior project has instilled in me a lifelong commitment to service and a firm belief in the transformative power of collective action. Looking back, the impact of my senior project extended far beyond the funds raised and the awareness promoted. It was the connections made, the lives touched, and the ripple effect of change that will continue to resonate in the community. I'm definitely humbled by the knowledge that by dedicating myself to the service, I played a small part in creating a more compassionate and understanding society. And as I step into the future, I'm eager to build upon the foundation laid by my senior project. I envision engaging in volunteer work, collaborating with local organizations, and seeking opportunities to address pressing issues. Whether it is advocating for mental health, supporting underprivileged communities, or championing environmental sustainability, I'm driven by a sense of responsibility to contribute meaningfully to the well-being of others and the world we share. Service is not a one-time endeavor, but a lifelong commitment. It requires continuous learning, growth, and adaptation to evolving needs. I understand that my journey may not have been smooth, and challenges did arise along the way. However, I am fortified by the lessons learned during my senior project and the support the community gave, and the unwavering belief that together we can create a positive change. During the course of my project, I had the privilege of connecting with individuals who bravely share their personal stories and struggles. These encounters highlighted the pressing need for mental health support and the urgency to break down the barriers of stigma. Witnessing the transformative power of community engagement and action was amazing. Volunteers, supporters, and local residents rallied together, uniting their efforts to generate funds and amplify the message of hope. This experience reaffirmed my belief in the profound impact that can be achieved when we join forces. My senior project has been definitely a transformative experience that has deepened my understanding of the importance of service and its capacity to bring about change. Through fundraising, advocacy, and education, I have witnessed the first-hand power of service to address societal challenges and uplift those in need. I'm grateful for the support and the opportunity that have allowed me to undertake this project, and I'm committed to carrying the spirit of service with me in all my future endeavors.
All right, everybody, let's try something for a second, okay? Everybody close your eyes and imagine with me, okay? All right. It's cold and it's wet outside, and you're standing on a street corner in minimal clothes. You're holding a sign that reads, "Need help, anything will do." Maybe your kids are next to you and just as cold as you are. People pass you like you're nothing, maybe laughing or maybe ignoring your existence. Now imagine you are watching the sun go down as you are lying on the street corner, covering yourself up with newspapers you found in a trash can. And for a pillow, a bunch of smelly, old, ripped clothes that you found on the side of the road. Trying your best to fall asleep before the cold sets in and it becomes unbearable. Hoping, wishing, wanting someone to save you. Finally, imagine with me that you walk into a homeless shelter and they greet you with something that you haven't seen in a long time, a warm smile. They showed you a room. This room has a heater, a bed, a real pillow, a real blanket. You hear in the distance a shower running with the sweet sound of water splashing on the hard ground. They hand you a basket of items such as toothpaste, toothbrushes, clothes, shampoo, deodorant, and some other little items. And suddenly, you feel safe. Now you can open your eyes again and look around you, and you're not in that situation. Hello, I'm Nathan Congleton, and I'm sure most of you know who I am. I was given the honor of talking up here to you guys today. I was asked to talk about my senior project that I completed this last year. My project was called Fellowship. The plan was to go to different churches and collect items such as toothpaste, toothbrushes, deodorant, and many other items. I would take those collected items and donate them to a local male ministry or male homeless shelter called the Rivers of Life. Once the items were donated, I hoped that they would be distributed to homeless people in need. I learned quite a bit about communication, planning, and commitment, and I'm really proud of that. For the next couple of minutes, I will go into more detail about how my project impacted me and how it changed the way I think. When I was young, like every other young child, I didn't really have any sense of what homelessness really was. I can still remember the day my mom and I were driving home from Boise. I saw a man on the side of the road, holding a cardboard sign, much like the story I said before. I turned to my mom and I asked her, "Mom, why is he just standing there?" She told me it was because he was struggling and needed help. So me being young and innocent, I told her to just give the guy our credit card and let him have a good day. That made her laugh, but she soon explained to me that it was much more than we were probably equipped to help. Later on in life, I figured out exactly what she meant by that. Sometimes a homeless person could have a family or a disability or even just the lack of motivation because of how they were treated. I felt bad for that man driving home that day because I felt like I had something that he would never have again, and that was a smile. What I soon realized as I matured was that just because of your circumstances, you can still find happiness and joy. I thought long and hard this year about what I wanted to do, and I finally came up with Fellowship. The name was unique to me because it encapsulated the homeless male target as well as fellowship with each other, which brings in family, church, and the community. Now that I had the name, I needed to come up with the process of how I was going to complete the task at hand. But honestly, I didn't really know what the task at hand was yet. I had a talk with one of my close friends, and we discussed what I could possibly do for the homeless men in the community. We sat there for a long time talking about how I could make baskets or set up a day where we invite homeless men to come in and eat. We sat there for a long time talking about how I could even go out into the community and make a bunch of sandwiches and just hand them out. After literal hours about talking, we came to the conclusion of how I was going to go to different churches and put bins and have the church family donate items that could be used for everyday life. Now that I had the process of how I was going to do this project, I had to communicate with my sponsor, Samantha Chanel, or Dean Chanel, about my plan and how I was going to do it. We talked, and she said that I needed to contact churches and find out how I could put bins in their lobbies. I started with contacting the Nampa SDA church. They set up a time where I could come in and present my idea to the church board. They all approved my plan, and I was going to bring in the bins next week. That's when life happened, and I became super busy. I ran out of time to achieve the goal I had set for the end of the week, and I felt really bad about that. Eventually, I had to move on to the Caldwell Church, and it was disappointing that I felt like I missed an opportunity with Nampa. At Caldwell, they had me get up in front of them and talk about my senior project for everybody, and for me, this was very nerve-wracking. I didn't know what I wanted to say or do, so I kind of just winged it. It went well, and after church, I put my bins out. I decided I would come back and check in the following 2 weeks if they were filled. I came back the next weekend, and to my surprise, they were filled and overflowing. I was amazed by the commitment and generosity of my church family, and I couldn't have been happier. I collected it all and took it home, where I would later organize it and make it look nice. Now, remember how I said I felt really bad about missing the opportunity with Nampa? Well, the opportunity came back, and I took it in a heartbeat. They were so kind to me and so understanding of my busyness. When I came back the next week, after dropping off my bins, it was overflowing again. I could not believe how much people wanted to help other people. It made me think of the verse 2 Corinthians 9, 6 through 8, which reads, "Remember this, whoever sows sparingly will also reap sparingly. Whoever sows generously will also reap generously. Each of you should give what you have decided to give in your heart, not reluctantly or under compulsion, but for God, because God loves a cheerful giver. And God is able to bless you abundantly, so that in all things and all times, having all that you need, you will abound in every good work." After my project, I realized how much we could change the world if we really wanted to. I never expected the amount of support and help I received from the churches and from the staff here at the school. I am so thankful to each and every one of those that helped me. The person or people who received all that we gave might not know that we did it for them, but we can be sure that they are grateful and happy and living a better life now. We could have given someone the little push or glimpse of hope that they needed to get back out there and try again. Thank you for your endless support. I couldn't have finished my senior project without you all.
Throughout the course of my senior year, I have been blessed with the opportunity to spend a significant portion of my time volunteering with St. Luke's. This opportunity dates back to my freshman year, when early on I applied to the St. Luke's Junior Volunteer Program. I went through an interview process and was one of the lucky individuals who was selected to get to participate. Unfortunately, due to the pandemic, I was only able to have one real volunteer shift before the program was shut down. I took this event and moved on, but I have been continuously hoping that the program would come back before I was graduated. So I was ecstatic when I got an email earlier this year saying that the program would be coming back. I reapplied and was quickly reaccepted. However, volunteer leadership had shifted, so I was very curious to see how the logistics would play out. I learned that in the current St. Luke's Junior Volunteer Program, we are scheduled to work 1 2-hour shift once a week. Our volunteer supervisor, Miranda, switches the department we work in every month in order to expose us to different jobs and environments around the hospital. I started working in the pediatric department, which was super fun. I worked with the Toy Cart, which is a program that provides activities and toys to kids who have to stay in the pediatric unit. I got to go around to different patient rooms and ask kids if they want to have a toy or an activity in order to keep them occupied. We had everything from baby rattles and dolls to books and things to paint on. It was so touching to feel like I was able to make a difficult situation in someone's life a little more bearable. Some kids would get so excited, and it was really adorable to see them light up when I handed them something to play with. I love kids, and it was so rewarding to be able to interact with them in a way that felt impactful. I was then given the opportunity to work in the emergency department. I would clean the waiting room and go around to patient rooms, asking if there was anything they needed or that could make them more comfortable, like a warm blanket. Some days the ED would be super chaotic. Paramedics would be rushing through, and I would just try and stay out of the way. However, it was during these times that I recognized how the volunteers can help ease the stress of nurses in the hospital. I was able to clean beds and make them up, or clean rooms, so that nurses didn't have to worry about doing this before they could help a new patient. This is the true magic of this program, because it allows the volunteers to complete the busy work, so that nurses don't have to worry about this. Nurses are truly free to give their time and attention to the patients that they are serving. Next, I worked in visitor support, in which I helped to direct the flow of traffic in the entryway of the hospital, and I would show people where they needed to go. This was a more uneventful shift, but it gave me the chance to bond with other volunteers and people who work at the front desk. More recently, I have shifted into surgery waiting. This mostly involves taking family back to the post-anesthesia care unit, or PACU, to see a patient who has just gotten out of surgery. However, we can also direct family members to consult rooms where a surgeon can come and talk to the family about how a surgery went. Overall, we man the desk at surgery waiting and help to ensure that everyone gets where they need to go. Volunteering has been such an impactful experience for me. It has shown me a more accurate view of what working in a hospital is like, which is beneficial for me because I want to go into the medical field. It has also been so rewarding to feel like I am a small piece in a process that can help to improve someone's life. In addition to being a junior volunteer, I have had the opportunity to serve the hospital by being a youth representative on the St. Luke's Children's Advisory Board. This is a board made up of around 50 members of influential medical professionals and community members that come together for philanthropic outreach in support of St. Luke's Children's Hospital. St. Luke's Children's is the only children's hospital in the state of Idaho, so it is crucial that it receives the necessary resources to properly take care of those who rely on it. And the advisory board is one of the main ways that it receives funding and can improve its care. In addition to this, the board helps to fund many community outreach programs like mental health awareness walks or educational support events. It also is involved in helping to improve hospital conditions through raising money to purchase new equipment and to raise funds to hire people like child life specialists. During my time on the board, I was given the chance to see how philanthropy can be integrated in a medical environment. In addition, I gained such an appreciation for the work that goes into making our hospitals safe and up to date. I was given chances to have a hands-on impact in my community. This was most prevalent when I was able to help out with the annual toy drive called Santa's Toy Box. This is an amazing program that the board runs every year for families with children in the hospital. It helps to relieve the stress of Christmas shopping during the holidays by allowing a parent to come to the toy box and pick out presents for their sick child and any of the patient's siblings. This year was the most successful toy box to date, and we were able to supply toys not just to the Boise Pediatric Unit, but all across the Treasure Valley. I initially helped out with the open house and was able to welcome families who were bringing donations in. I helped to take pictures of them in front of the Christmas tree, and by the end of the night, you could hardly see the tree because there were so many presents stacked around it. The next morning, I came in and helped to sort the gifts into the storage room so they could be put into the toy box later. However, by far the most impactful aspect of this day was being given the opportunity to help Christmas shop for a boy who was in the hospital. I went through with another volunteer and we picked out a gift along with stocking stuffers and a stuffed animal for each of them. I then helped wrap the gift, and I knew those gifts would help to make someone's Christmas just a little more magical. Throughout my experience at the hospital, I have truly felt like I was able to make a positive impact on my community. No one enjoys being stuck in the hospital, but I have been able to be a smiling face and a compassionate ear for those hard times. I have come to understand that nothing is as rewarding as helping your community without expecting anything in return.
So, by a quick show of hands, how many of you have ever been involved in a mission trip or some sort of a service project? Anyone? That is kind of the majority of our audience here. And I believe that you will all agree that really who ends up getting benefited most by some of these mission trips? We go there to Thailand or to Costa Rica or wherever we go on our mission trips, and they're perfectly happy down there. Yeah, they've got some things that they could probably use, but really what ends up happening is when we come back, we discover we were the one that needed to be ministered to. A lot of times, that's what ends up happening. We go down there, and they minister to us. And so I think that you don't go into mission for that reason. But it's one of those that I think God kind of knew about a little bit ahead of time, knowing that when you serve others, they end up serving you as well. And I believe that there's something written in the Bible about that. It's kind of interesting how that works. I hope you guys enjoyed our Sabbath School this morning. It is, again, like I've said, one of our pillars here at Gem State Academy, and I think you guys would agree that that's a pretty good thing to come away with. You've got 4 years of memories and different events that we've taken place. I've been on mission trips out of the country, but I've also been on mission trips in our local community. And it is important to realize that you can minister to anyone, you can be of service to anyone, anywhere, including right here in our local communities. So anyway, we thank you for joining us for Sabbath School. We'll now end with prayer.
Please bow your heads with me. Dear Heavenly Father, thank you for this opportunity to come together to worship you on this beautiful Saturday morning. Thank you for this class and the 4 years we've spent together and the memories we've made along the way. Amen. Okay, we will be starting church at 5 after 11.